Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I'm going to entitle this one, This is the Most Important Warning That I Can Give You Right Now. There's a lot of things going on, but, there's a lot of news. But one of the reasons, hopefully, that you tune into Prophecy Club is because you can know what you need to listen to because the prophecies say this is coming, and also what is just irrelevant or never going to happen or stuff you can just throw away. That's another big reason why I think it's important to listen to Prophecy Club. Okay, so first of all, let me bring you a little good news. As you know, Michael Snyder had this, a dream, but where God was screaming at him multiple times, telling us that we better be praying that the negotiations between Russia and America do not backfire. And we have continued to pray for that. We're fasting, got the Fast Track, Fast Gap team praying for it and fasting every Tuesday night from midnight to 4 p.m. the next day. And I think that our prayer was at least partially answered. Because if we'd agreed to this Ukraine land deal, this rare minerals deal, that would have put us boots on the ground, directly fighting Russia. That's what Ukraine, that's what Zelensky wanted, and that's exactly what Russia said is a red line. They said, you do that, and we're going to war. Okay, so the good news. Kremlin says U.S. foreign policy pivot largely coincides with our vision. Okay, do you ever think you'd hear Russia say, actually, we're kind of thinking the same way that America's thinking? That's, in so many words, what this is saying. Russia's foreign minister, this is Lavrov, okay, this is the guy, for the last 4 years, he has done nothing but badmouth the Biden administration with good reason. Matter of fact, I, for the most part, think I'd have to probably agree with what Lavrov has said. I think that Biden regime was trying to cause problems with Russia. Russia's foreign minister also praises Donald Trump for his, quote, common sense aim to end the war in Ukraine. Well, we do too. Go on. The U.S. president, who has often said he respects his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. Now, let me say something about that. You've heard the old saying that says, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well, I've also heard another one that says, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That's an even more important one. In other words, it's important to be friends with your enemies. The Bible says that when the nation is righteous, he will give us peace even with our enemies. We want to be friends with the Russians. After all, when the 350 missiles were fired from Iran on Israel, they said that they were all shot down. That's not true. According to HalTurnerRadioShow.com, 8 got through, and there were other sources that also indicated that was true. And the 8 that got through were ones that Russia supplied to Iran, and they were hypersonic missiles, the new missiles. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so the way this thing works is America makes some kind of a piece of military equipment. We send it to our good friends in Israel, and they almost always improve it. So, when 8 missiles get through and hit Israel, they've got the most advanced. That means that those same 8 or 800 missiles, that if Russia wanted to, could get through our defenses right now. Meaning, Russia knows right now, if they want to, they can take out America anytime they choose. Right now, we do not have the technological advantage. Russia does. That means it's a good thing for us to be friends with them. Let's go on. U.S. President, who has often said he respects Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, has worked to build ties with Moscow since taking office in January. Good for him. Including twice siding with Russia in UN votes. The new administration is rapidly changing all foreign policy configurations. Good. Dmitry Peskov told a reporter from state television, this is largely coincides with our vision. Okay, so they're actually saying that they like what Donald Trump is doing here. There's a long way to go because there is such huge damage to the whole complex of bilateral relations. But if the political will of the two leaders, President Putin and President Trump, is maintained, this path can be quite quickly made successful. That's the best news I've heard about U.S.-Russia relations in a long time. I like it. We need to be friends with our enemies, okay? Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov also praised Trump for his common sense aim to the end of the war in Ukraine and accused European powers they're turning against Trump. They are part of the problem. And I'm going to try to tie that in here. And you accuse European powers who have rallied to support Zelensky and are meeting with the Ukrainian leader at the summit in London on Sunday. That's right. So Zelensky left meeting with Trump, flew right to what was supposed to be our buddies, the Ukraine, and we have discovered, as I think I'll be able to get to today, our British buddies stabbed us in the back. Lavrov says, Trump is a pragmatist. His slogan is common sense. It means, as everyone can see, a shift to a different way of doing things. Washington and Moscow would never see eye to eye on everything, but here it is. This is good. They could resort to pragmatism when interests are coincided. In other words, this is Russia trying to kiss and make up with America. We're trying to put bygones. We're trying to stop looking in the rearview mirror but start looking out the front windshield. But Lavrov said the goal is still MAGA. A Russian saying that? That's good. Make America great again, referring to Trump's political slogan. This gives a lively human character to politics. That's why it's interesting to work with him. All right, now I'm going to cover some newsworthy items, but they're not really important. I'm going to show you the really important stuff that you're probably, unless you're a prophecy student, you would read right past that. But it's really important prophetically. Okay, here we go. And I'm not going to read all of it. Okay, just the headline. Leaked top secret documents show Israel to attack Iran nuclear sites in early March. Okay, remember Leslie was told that we're going to send troops to help Israel. Could it be this is part of it? Could it be that those warnings that were given to Leslie back as far as back to, 2005, I think it was? What was, here we go, 2002. Could it be that one of them that says Israel has attacked America, sends troops? Could it be this is the start of it? I don't want to think so, but it could be. Let's go on. The next article is emergency summit to convene in London on Sunday. This is our British buddies stabbing us in the back. Oh yeah, I'll tell you more in just a second. Also, Russia then has sunk a British weapons-carrying ship at a Ukraine port. Is Russia serious? You better know that they are, and they have the technology to back it up. All they're trying to do is to keep the West from taking Russia out. And I don't know, I skipped that article a few days ago, but maybe I should have included it. But anyway, we'll move on. Europe smashes Trump peace effort for Ukraine, adopts untenable position. Now get a load of this. So Europe is, now Brits and also the Europeans are turning against Trump. Watch. Europe has deliberately gone completely against America on the Ukraine issue. Yeah, I know you're saying, well, wait a minute, I can read all this at halturnradioshow.com. Yes, you can. But if you don't understand Bible prophecy, if you don't understand the things that God has put into Prophecy Club, then you'll read right by this and you won't see the importance and really the direction it's going. All right, so anyway, so Europe has deliberately gone completely against America. In other words, the Brits and Europe are in the process of stabbing America in the back. And he goes on to say, the Ukraine issue, full war is to continue. So European nations and Canada decided today that, in London, to smash Trump's peace plan, back Zelensky, and make any peace deal impossible. Here's what he says. European announced more military aid to Ukraine and more sanctions on Russia. Big mistake. Big mistake. Look, if Russia can take out America anytime they want to, with even less effort, they can take out Europe. 2, they declared that sovereignty means Ukraine must get all its territories back. Not going to happen. Russia's already said the area that we have confiscated, we're going to keep. Not going to happen. And they have the cards. Ukraine must be part of all negotiations. As you saw, Ukraine wants war. They don't want peace. And it may take something like a Russian nuke hitting Ukraine to turn their attitude. Let's go on. After a peace deal, Ukraine will be armed. More trouble. I mean, the red horse is riding here. The UK with other nations will form military coalition to go boots on the ground after the deal in Ukraine. That's a red line. So what Europe and the Brits are all planning to do is to go boots on the ground. That is a NATO attack against Russia. That means we're looking at World War III. We're looking at a bloodbath if this happens. Russia will not accept any deal that puts boots on the ground. They've said that many times. Clearly, Europe wants war to continue. Sadly, I have to say he's probably right. That appears to be what they want. The USA will have to walk away and let Ukraine fight until the bitter end. Well, matter of fact, here, let me say something else. I know it seems like just about everybody is saying this is a real genius idea that Trump came up with to try to get our $350 billion back from Ukraine and to stop the war by giving us rights to a lot of rare earth minerals in Ukraine. Well, a couple of things with that. Several sources say, matter of fact, Russia says, actually, we're the guys. Russia is the guys that has the rare earth minerals. You should be talking to us. Ukraine doesn't have anywhere close to $350 billion, where they have more like $20 million, with a very, very small amount. But secondly, Russia, I think the whole thing would involve America shaking hands, walking hand in hand with Ukrainians, which, according to my information, is the most evil country on the planet. They are the ones that started Moloch and Baal worship. That is, after Moses came down off of the mountain, all of that sort of stuff. I'll skip. They're the most evil people on the planet. The Ashkenazis started in Ukraine, and then it moved to Russia. To Switzerland, and then over to Germany. World War II. That's who we were fighting. The Nazis, or the Ashkenazis. Indirectly, in World War II, we were fighting Ukraine. But today, Russia is against Ukraine, as they should be, but America switched sides. America doesn't know its history very well, and they believe the news. And matter of fact, if Trump were to call me, phone's right there, Trump, what do you think, Stan? I'd say don't send another bullet or another dollar to Ukraine. Not one bit of help, and it shouldn't have ever been sent in the first place. But then I'm just a prophecy teacher, right? Let's move on. Also, in the article, it says, British already signed a deal for minerals. What? Yeah. So the whole thing about Zelensky going in to sign a minerals deal with Trump was all a setup. Here's what he says. True, Zelensky and the UK and the EU were playing the US. British had already signed a deal that provided Ukraine security guarantees, means boots on the ground, British blood to be spilled in Ukraine. That's what that's saying. And right of access to Ukraine's gas, oil, rare minerals, Ukraine's ports. Remember, I just read for you that the Brit just got one of their boats blew up in a Ukraine port by the Russians. I just read that. Okay. Oversight of Ukraine's ports, and 3 days before President Trump's inauguration on the 17th of January, 2025. So, what was Ukraine doing offering us the minerals that they already had an agreement with the Brits to give to the Brits? Obviously, the whole thing was a setup. Obviously, Ukraine was lying. And I'm glad we did not get in bed with Ukraine. I'm glad we did not have any kind of an agreement. We do not want to be over, even though, see, China, that's another thing. About 4 or 6 weeks ago, something like that, China cut off selling all of their rare earth minerals to us. So now we're in need of rare earth minerals. About that time, here comes Ukraine's situation. We're offering to sell America Ukraine. It looks to me like Everything was happening to get Trump to go boots on the ground in Ukraine, and that would have meant a direct war with Russia. And all of a sudden, Dmitri's prophecy, the Russia destroying us in 1 hour, moves closer rather than further away. Let's go on. So they were looking. Now, who's they? Europe and the Brits were looking to sucker the United States into providing security for their exploitation of Ukraine. Except U.S. intelligence got wind of the deal and warned President Trump. I don't know about that. Zelensky was coming to the White House to sucker the U.S. into protecting what was already a British deal. I think our prayers were largely answered because we could have been in a world of hurt right now. Let's go on. A few more articles. Reports U.S. pulling 20,000 troops from NATO's support. Oh, there's more. Trump meeting to cancel all Ukraine Trump meeting to cancel all aid to Ukraine. Good. Should have never started, in my opinion. What is all this saying? It's saying that there's a divide between the Brits and Europe and America. There's a divide between us and Europe. What is that saying? It says that they're about to get a European Union and about to fulfill prophecy where they'll have one man stand up over a European empire, and that man will eventually become the Antichrist. So all of a sudden, we're very, very close to fulfilling prophecy. Let's go on. He says, I think you should see this. This is, I'm going to read this. This is from one, let's see, I'll read it here. If MAGA Putin America wants to play hardball with us, in Europe, we should do the following. In other words, pulling our troops out. We should do the following. 50% tariffs on all U.S. imports. Confiscating all U.S. military assets in Europe in case U.S. withdraws U.S. military staff. No more intelligence sharing. No more visits or invitations. Boycott. It went on to say Germany has an army of about 65,000, where the U.S. has about 50,000 troops just in Germany. In other words, Europe is making some very, very, very big mistakes. Let's go on. Now, factor in this. 2 more incidents of severe respiratory distress. So the current Pope is, with all kindness, probably on his last leg. What does that mean? That means they're probably going to have a new Pope. Well, what does that mean? I did not look it up, but I have several people that have seen dreams or visions of the new Pope. And he's a young man with dark hair. I don't want to get confused with the Antichrist, but I remember it said dark hair, but a young man. Okay, so here we are about to get a new Pope, and they're a Pope for life unless they resign. So all of a sudden, we could start seeing some big prophecy get fulfilled here really quick. And sad to say, it's not all good. Okay, now let me get to the part that concerns me. This is from a good friend. You be ready. He says, yes, we have all your books. That was the first thing I thought. I received a very powerful vision yesterday in prayer, and I call it the greatest show on earth. I have not seen it yet. As soon as I get it typed up, I'll send it to you, praying for your interpretation, but the Lord said to send it to you, so I will probably get it tomorrow. Now, this is concerning the broadcast I made talking about the topic behind me, internal revolution. He says, you're correct. Dmitri was absolutely correct. A lot of the government employees, now here's the thing, okay, government employees were not just Democrats, but also Republicans. Being a retired government employee, my wife still works for the government. She is seeing all the anger, hurt, and confusion. What Elon is doing is against the law. Okay, I've told you that I don't trust Elon. It could be that what he's doing is setting America up for the mark of the beast. Elon's doing is against the law. Government employees have rights and laws to prevent what he's doing. Say, for instance, you work for the VA and have for 10 months. You come to work every day, but you have good reviews from your supervisor. However, there's a 1-year probationary period for your position. Since you're still a probationary employee, you're terminated. You even voted for Trump. Now you're unemployed. I tell you, stand by the summer of this nation. Here it is, here it is, here it is. By this summer, this nation will be in full riot and chaos mode. I've said that. Dimitri's prophecy will come to pass, but it is not just the communists, it's all the people. The commies are at the very top level, normal people are at the bottom, and the ones affected. I'll send you the vision tomorrow. We love you and less, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so is he right? I think he's right. He's confirming what I said. Now, let me point out something else. This is from Terry Bennett, and it's a long message, but I'm just reading this one paragraph. Terry says, I saw in the governmental arena we'll go through a dramatic change in our government. Has Trump brought that? Now, we thought he brought that in the first term, number 45. But now he's number 47, and he's making changes like nobody has ever seen. I saw in the governmental arena we'll go through a dramatic change in our government. There will be a time of anarchy and chaos. That's my point. That's my point. That's about to hit. For a while, we'll have a fractional government. Why? Which means basically our government come down to the state level because of the military stepping in and have seized control over the federal government. Now, what does that mean? I think with some 467,000 sealed indictments, and they are not going to be arrested, in my opinion, from the information I've got, they're not going to be arrested by civil, like marshals or police officers or something like that. They're arrested by military. They don't take them to civilian jails and county jails and even federal jails. They take them to military jails. They're tried in military courts where there's 3 judges, and pretty much when the judge says you're guilty, and they can try large numbers of people all at once. I mean, they can flat move them through. So the military steps in, having seized control of the federal government. Now, I was under the impression that would probably start soon after inauguration. But then all of these Doge started finding all of this corruption, not just fraud, but corruption. So it looks to me like it could be a whole lot more than just 457,000 people arrested. Let's go on. He said, you'd call it a coup, but in all honesty, it'll be to help our nation. That's why the military will step in. And I've got, 8, 10, 12 different people that are saying the same thing. We've covered this many times. Let's go on. Now, again, I've covered this so many times, you probably got it memorized too. But the thing I want to point out here is he said that there would be a financial storm. My opinion, the financial storm has not hit yet, which I'm very pleased with, and I'm shocked it hasn't. But the financial storm is about to hit. Second thing is he said he saw that it goes 30% down the dollar, 30% down, 30% down, 30% down to finally worthless as leaves blowing in a wind. Okay, so what could cause that? Well, one of them that could cause it, and maybe several issues. So Trump walks into Fort Knox and there's no gold, or there's not the gold there's supposed to be, some kind of a negative report. All of a sudden the next day, the stock market crashes. All of our dollar bills are worth nothing, or they're devalued. I mean, like a Coverstone said, okay? And what causes this was when they start selling oil and other currency. Well, that happened June 9th of 2024. We're already in that. Frankly, I'm surprised that the dollar hadn't already crashed. So can it crash? You better know that it can. Okay. So many of at least the oil part of this has been fulfilled. Now let's look at the rest of it. Look at the bottom. The devaluing of our dollar, which has not happened yet. Okay, I'm shocked. Yes, there's been inflation, but not the devaluing of a dollar. The devaluing of our dollar caused major rioting in the streets. I saw riots in the cities and on the signs written, give us our entitlements, give us our entitlements. Well, why would they say that? Well, Dimitri said, he told me years ago, that would have been 1988, that he thought it would be something like they cut off welfare. Well, la-di-da. What is Doge doing right now? Now, Trump is saying absolutely positively, they're not going to cut off welfare, they're not going to cut off Medicare or any of that. Okay, well, they're not going to cut off the people that are supposed to be getting it. But what about the millions all of these years that were not supposed to be getting it? Would they pick up a sign? Would they go out and protest saying, give us our entitlements? Absolutely. Even the people are not supposed to be holding that sign, but they're getting paid to hold that sign. They're getting paid to cause chaos. There's more. Then he saw gold, he saw silver, not gold. Silver began to skyrocket in prices. I can't tell you how many times we've talked about ways that can happen. So what the message I'm trying to bring to you today is, and frankly, it seems like I'm talking to the wind a lot. I know there's a lot of good people out there that do listen to what Prophecy Club says. Thank you. Which, by the way, I asked for some financial help and we got it. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods, but yes, thank you. Thank you. Sometimes it does feel like I'm talking to the wind. I just want all of our people to be prepared, have Jesus in their heart, and be ready. Matter of fact, Sunday's sermon, I think, was a real "Thus saith the Lord." If you can go over and watch my sermon yesterday, which was Sunday, and I'm talking about miracles. I think that I got a revelation. I think that we're going to see the miracles start shortly after we see the Antichrist. Big miracles. And I don't have time to go into that, but anyway, it'd be a very good. Speaking of that, I also do a Friday night Bible study. Those are also very good. Anyway, it was literally war, civil war within our borders. It was all over the issue of devaluing money. And that's my point today. I think we're very, very close to it. If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper. And as Lindsey Williams says, if it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice. In 2021, I started making bread. And long story short is I believe God showed me that wheat is God's famine food, just like it was famine food back in the 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine, days of Pharaoh and Joseph. And I believe that that's what God has planned to feed his people. And you get it by going to josephskitchen.com. 3 steps. First, you want to get a machine package. Second, you want to order 6 ingredients and watch some videos, download the recipes to be able to make the bread. josephskitchen.com. Most of your long-time storage food, emergency food, all of that, typically are talking $9,000, $10,000 to feed one person for a year. Joseph Kitchen can show you how to do it for around $1,000 a person, and your kids will actually eat it, and it's actually good for you. Go check it out, josephskitchen.com.